Hey guys, Stitches here, back at it again with another episode of the Beyblade Day Battle Fest event for 2025. This time we're doing another Echo Battle. If you don't remember last time, which was the last video I did was Horn Rhino, or Rhino Horn, and Bear Scratch. And this time we have Yell Kong versus... I don't know if I have these in the right orientation, actually. I don't know, it doesn't matter. This time we have Yell Kong versus Gale Wyvern, or Wyvern Gale. Yell Kong is... Both of these bays are stamina types, and they are based on one another, with Wyvern Gale coming first and then Yell Kong coming later. They have the same pieces of plastic in their layer, or in their blade, rather, and the metal part of their blade is actually molded differently. While both are green, I do feel like they have some noticeable differences, as Wyvern Gale has a more yellow theme going to it, whereas Yell Kong kind of goes for a more orange and just a different shade of green. Without further ado, though, we are going to look at both combos up close. We'll be starting by looking at Wyvern Gale here. So Wyvern Gale has this blade that has these sort of gaps in it that are supposed to make for better aerodynamics, but I'm not sure if that actually helps. The sides are a little warped too, which I think is supposed to lead to it glancing off blows, but it really doesn't do much for it. For the parts on it, though, we have the 580 ratchet and the gear ball bit. Gear ball being a variant of the ball bit that is supposed to engage in more aggression and interact with the Xtreme line. So we'll see how that does, especially because in this first stadium there is no Xtreme line. I forgot to actually announce the combos at the beginning, but it's Gale Wyvern 580 gear ball and then Yell Kong 360 gear ball. Anyway, speaking of 360 gear ball, we have here are Yell Kong. Yell Kong has a much more solid layer and a much more molded one that has better attack potential. I also feel like the slopage on the sides is done a little differently to make it a little better at defending. It's got the 360 ratchet in this green and orange color, and then it's also got the gear ball bit. Now, as for this battle, I'm going to pretty much say that it's going to be another clean sweep. Gale Wyvern is another bay which just isn't that great in its stock form. It has its successes and its failures, though. Most notably, I've seen it get used in some decent attack combinations due to its sloping design. It allows for some better attacks, but I don't expect it to win because the 580 ratchet is kind of bad. I find that it just is pretty easy to burst. And especially against a shorter stamina type, it's not going to do very well. Anyway, as per usual, there will be 3 rounds, and these rounds will be best of 9s, meaning the first of 5 points wins. We'll be going through 3 different stadiums. We'll start here with the Beyblade Burst Dynamite Stadium, then move on to the Hasbro X Stadium, and then lastly move on to the Double Xtreme Stadium. Right here in the Dynamite Stadium, though, the rules are different from the other 2 stadiums, being that knockouts can not only be gotten through the pits, but also through the top. And additionally, those are only 1 point, stamina finishes are only 1 point, and burst finishes are 2 points. There are no extreme finishes here. I know some people, when I was explaining the rules to them, like IRL, they asked why wouldn't you just make the top over the top an extreme finish, and I'm like, because it's not different than knocking it out through the pit. I mean, like, you could say that the exit is different. So, oh, I get that, but it's like the end goal is the same. Anyway, due to these bays being pretty interchangeable, I'm going to be launching them interchangeably. I'm also still using the string launcher for this fight. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Gale Wyvern being kind of loud, actually. What is cool is both these bays are actually pretty aggressive, and I have to admit that Gale Wyvern's actually my first Beyblade, one of my first Beyblades in my collection. But that point goes to Yell Kong, by the way. Gale Wyvern started rotating the opposite direction. So Yell Kong gets a survivor finish, but Gale Wyvern was actually one of the first Beyblades in my collection, and was the first Beyblade I think I opened in my collection as well. So, you know, I think that's cool. We'll be seeing the Beyblade I consider the real first Beyblade in my collection in these battles as well. So, 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Mess that one up. Wyvern Gale just getting kind of discombobulated there by Yell Kong, putting the score at 2-0 for Yell Kong. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Wyvern Gale definitely is soaring around the stadium more than Yell Kong is. Yell Kong is definitely trying to take the center and take a more defensive approach. Ooh, and I thought that Wyvern Gale might have had that for a second, but the score is unfortunately Yell Kong 3, Wyvern Gale 0. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Will it tornado stall? The answer is no. Takes another loss, putting the score at Yell Kong's 4 to Gale Wyvern's 0. Can Gale Wyvern win this at all? Probably not. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Come on, Gale Wyvern. I think you can do it. Ooh. Aw, Gale Wyvern, you were so close. Oh, wait a minute. No, that was just Yell Kong doing a taunt. Darn. Yell Kong takes a complete sweep. Gale Wyvern not managing to get a single point. Gale Wyvern did almost have a knockout there. They both got knocked pretty close to the edge. I think a big reason for this is that Gale Wyvern is pretty light, and the aerodynamics thing actually does seem to be somewhat true, because the holes in the blade actually do seem to intake air and cause it to move around the stadium more. Keep in mind, these are on the same bit, and I think also being higher up helps Gale Wyvern because it gets more air from underneath it as well. Anyways, time for a stadium change. We're moving on to the Hasbro X Stadium. And with it, new rule set. Being that if you get a survivor finish, it is 1 point, but knockout finishes can only be gotten through these 2 pockets, meaning it's 2 points. Burst finishes are still 2 points, but getting knocking someone into the extreme pocket is a 3-point win. The score is still going up to 5 points. So that is not any different. And since Yelkong won, or I'm going to launch it first this time. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, Gale Wyvern trying to do extreme dashes. Needs to be careful with that. I have seen Gale Wyvern rip its own bit out trying to do extreme dashes. But it seemed like all that really did for Gale Wyvern was give it not a lot of stamina. So the score is Yelkong's 1 to Gale Wyvern's 0. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Aw, Gale Wyvern, I told you to be careful. Well, Gale Wyvern did manage to knock the opponent into the knockout pit. It did not do so without bursting itself. Meaning that the score is now Yelkong 3 to Gale Wyvern 0. These bays do pick up quite a lot of filth from this stadium. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like the black coloring like rubs off the stadium somehow. But it like definitely I find that this stadium particularly gets the most like grime on the bottom of the tips. This time I'll launch Gale Wyvern first, see if that's what it needs. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Never mind, because Gale Wyvern will burst itself. I already have the other bay on the launcher. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Oh, shit! Gale Wyvern gets a burst finish, putting the score at 2 to 3. I wasn't expecting that, but then I also accidentally nailed Yelkong coming into the stadium. I try to avoid that, but sometimes you just can't. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Ooh, and Gale Wyvern gets a knockout that time, putting the score at Gale Wyvern 4 to Yelkong's 3. Gale Wyvern has taken the lead. Is it possible that Gale Wyvern will win this? Because Gale Wyvern actually just needs one more win of any type. Unfortunately, no. It managed to saw itself apart on Yelkong's blade there. That is one of the downsides to using a high bay. If you try to extreme dash the opponent, especially a faulty extreme dash like that one, where it didn't properly lock in and kind of just drifted near the extreme line, you will lose. You'll get sawed apart, especially on the higher ratchets. So, you know, that's definitely sad, but hey, at least Gale Wyvern put up a good fight on that one and tried its best. Anyway, next up we're moving on to the Double Xtreme Stadium, which I almost just threw off the table there. The Double Xtreme Stadium features a plate in the center that'll move up and down, exposing more of the center extreme line, meaning these bays are about to go crazy due to them both having the gear ball tip. But what it really means is that Gale Wyvern's likely going to burst because it's going to rip its bit out after being pressured against the line too hard. Pressure bursts are a thing in this game, so, you know, be careful. Anyway, I'm going to engage the motor. And I'll have to be a little faster with this, or at least time the launches a little better. So, go shoot. Yell Kong did not sugarcoat it there. It bursted on the corpse. Yell Kong did not sugarcoat it there. And just destroyed Gale Wyvern there with an Xtreme dash. I think Gale Wyvern actually made good use of this stadium when it showed up in the anime. This stadium did show up in the anime, which is actually pretty cool. They try to do that nowadays, showing the different stadiums and how they appear in the anime. So, yeah. That's unfortunate. So the score is Yell Kong 2 to Gale Wyvern 0. Yell Kong is really just destroying Gale Wyvern, taking the score up to 4 to 0. Yeah. I didn't expect Gale Wyvern to do much good in this stadium, but it still hurts to watch. So, final round, I guess. So, 3, 2, 1, go shoot. And 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, Gale Wyvern ripped its bit out, putting the score at 6-0 for Yell Kong. Meaning that Gale Wyvern is unfortunately the loser. That was kind of a bath there, like a bloodbath, but Beyblade, that was cringe. Why did I say it like that? So Gale Wyvern loses. And our boy Yell Kong has it on. So yeah, honestly, if that kind of subverted your expectations somehow, I don't know what. I know Warden is typically portrayed as pretty strong in the anime. Warden being the user of Gale Wyvern. I think his name is Kadavar in the Japanese version, which I don't know if that means anything different, but yeah, honestly, I'm a little sad to watch Gale Wyvern lose, but maybe when it evolves with its new UX version later, when that comes out, it'll help. And yeah, if you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. You should also comment if you think I made some bad judge calls, or if you think I could have done something different. If there was a different launch technique I could have used for Gale Wyvern, let me know. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next Battlefest video.